Hi guys, for today's class we'll see how we'll export a CAD drawing to Photoshop and render the same. So here now I've already got a project which I've worked on. So there is a file which has got a 2 BHK, a single BHK layout and a 2 BHK layout. The idea is to differentiate the spaces. Normally an apartment blocks, any houses, we'll have a drop at the entrance, that is a formal one. But again, I've made a drop. It's not a drop, but it's something easier for me to render. So I made a division here. This is technically not a drop, but just a division for rendering. But on the real-time drawing, you won't see this line. Photoshop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip this part alone. I'll clip the whole drawing so that you have a better understanding of it. Convert into a PDF. I'm not going to save this drawing as a JPEG, since if I save it as a JPEG, then the image won't have lines separately. Whereas if I I'll go into a plotter, print into PDF. I'll give a A3 would be ideal size for a presentation, that's fine for a small project. I'll select the window, I'll drag across the window, and let me have a preview once. Yes, it's fine. Okay, then plot. So I'll save it on the desktop. Let's say presentation P1. Save. So let's begin with the introduction to Photoshop. So once you open up Photoshop, so this is a default window you'll see on asking what size of canvas you want to work on. So typically you can select any sizes. You do have options here. You can get your presets. You can give your dimensions, what you want, or pixels. So right now, as I already told you, so we'll go with the A3, which I've already used. You can have different sizes put up here on the various windows. You can pick up what size you want on the top. So I'll go into the recent. So I'll use the A3, and again you can set a resolution. So resolution gives you the higher depth in your presentation. So normally don't go with the default. So the default is 72 pixels, whereas you can go for a 300 resolution. That would be a very ideal case. But telling you 300 resolution again will take a bit of a RAM in your computer when you are working on it, but it's still fine. I think most of the PCs would be able to cope it up. So click create, and now we got the new page opened up. So now we have to import our drawing into the file. So what I'll do is I'll go to file and click open. In this I'll go into our desktop, I'll go into our default location. There is the P1, I'll select that and I'll open this file. Again, it'll ask me what are the parameters I need to work on. I'll say I'll give the default size of what the file is, because we already brought it in as A3, and the resolution to be set as 300, and click OK. So now do you see two different tabs here at the top? So one is here which says your sheet, another one is your new file. And yeah, one thing which I missed out, I think I'll quickly run through now. So to give you an introduction on the user interface of Photoshop, on the top what you see is the file menu bar, and then your quick tools. The toolbar is actually onto your left side. This is all the tools you have. We'll use few of the tools, not all the tools are required for us. And next we'll come into this important section onto your right side bottom, the layers, and here's where all your different layers will be stacked up. and each of the layers would have different parameters to work out with, commands. So now I'll go on to it. So now you've seen there are two tabs which I've opened up here. So I'll pull out the tab 2, which is this is the file we have to work on, and this is the sheet in which we are going to work the file we have brought in the presentation. So I'll click on it and pull it out. So now you see our background sheet is ready and the file which we need to work on is on the top. So now the first button on the tool set, what you see here is called the move tool. So you keep your cursor close to it. It again gives you a preview of what this tool does. So again, what I'll do is this drawing I'll need to tell you. Now for the backdrop, you see there's only one sheet which is called the background and layer is locked. Whereas if I go into this sheet, there is layer 1, but there's no lock here. And if I just use the move tool here, I'll just say Control A. I'll do it here. I use a move tool and you can see the drawing moving on here. I'll just take it here and now I bring the drawing. After this, we don't have a use for this drawing. We are good. Close. And now you can see there's a background at the bottom and a layer 1 which is at the top. This is the layer 1 what we got. So I'll reposition layer 1. So make sure you click on the line of the drawing to move. It's okay if the edges get cropped up, which is not important for me. Only the plan is important, as in the frame. Now I press Ctrl plus to zoom in, and basically this is the part we are going to work on. So we have a layer, and be sure on which layer we're going to work. We have to make sure it's selected and then we work on it. So there are a number of selection tools in which we can work with. That is, selection in the sense select a particular area to give it the rendering, the color presentation, different colors. So what I'll do is I'll just show you what are the tools which are here. One is a rectangular tool. I've already clicked on layer 1. So if I want to render this living and dining space alone, I'll make sure I'll click on the edge. It's got various other geometrical shapes to work with, single row, single column, ellipse and all of that. Next, there is a lasso. This is another tool. That's again another tool for selection. So either there is a lasso, which is a freehand tool where you have to draw and select, which needs a lot of hand control. Next is a polygonal lasso, which just gives you straight lines. This is quite a handy tool for us. Select. And magnetic lasso, it will automatically trace the outlines of what we are going to work on. So this is again an easy tool, but still time consuming. This is the tool which we will work on and which should be very handy for us, which should be the magic wand tool. So I click on this tool. So I'm in layer 1, and as I told you, I did a preparation. I drew a line here which is a drop line, and again for this bedroom I did a drop line. So what I'm going to represent, I'm going to represent 3 different patterns. The living, dining and the kitchen would be of one pattern. The toilet would be given another pattern, and a bedroom would be given another pattern, and walls would be given another pattern. So there are I'll press shift, which means add selection. If I press alt, it means subtract selection. So like example, if I press plus, I can add this part to the selection, and if I don't want it, I'll press alt. So as of now we need a plus. Okay, and okay, I made a selection. Now what I'm going to do is, for rendering, I need to create a new layer. So at the bottom of this window, the right side bottom, if you see there's a layer, create a new group, create a new layer, which is the second icon, and third is a delete layer. So I create a new layer. So a new layer comes on top of layer 1. Actually, I can rename these layers also for a better understanding. Like I can give this a plan, and I can give this the living dining kitchen. And you can see background, we have plan, and we have living dining kitchen. And now, because I've created a new layer and I want that colors to be in a new layer, because I can vary the parameter, I can't have all the colors put up in the same layer. So I'll put the living dining and kitchen in one layer, and I'll use a shortcut, which is, now this is your color palette. What you see onto the toolbars, onto the left side bottom, you have a set of foreground color and you have a background color. We can use both of this. A foreground color, if you want to use, the shortcut is alt and backspace. If you want to use a background color, you can use control and backspace. And I'll leave off. Now to apply the colors on the palette, so for the background color, so I'll use a shortcut of alt and backspace. It doesn't make a difference of foreground and background, it's all the same. It's more like a palette of two different colors. So I can click on it, vary the color, and now I make sure I go into the living dining kitchen and use my shortcut of control and backspace. And now you see, and to deselect this part to see a better view, you have to press the shortcut is control and D. Now we got the space colored. But again, now you notice there's something else is a problem, which is could have gone in and we could have selected that part. But still it's not a problem now. We can do is, we can use a rectangular tool and make sure we are in the living dining kitchen layer, and I'll select this text as in a whole, because these are all lines. What we are filling up is a layer. So I'll give control and backspace. Now I filled up that whole content. I know it's disappeared here, but you'll see what is the reason behind what is happening. And next, again for the kitchen, I'll make sure I'll select all of that and I'll apply. So I have an understanding here. Your background sheet, your plan on top, which is just lines, and you have living dining kitchen, which has got your color. Now what exactly happened is the captions have gone and a few part of this door is missing here. That's because your colors are on top of the layer plan. So what I'm going to do is, you can see here, I'll just zoom out. I'm going to bring the color layer beneath the plan layer. Now you can see what exactly is happening. Now we got our layers done perfect. So this is how we can color the bedroom again. So we'll do the same part. Go into lasso, magic wand. I'll pick a magic wand, use shift, add. Now again I'll create another layer. I'll make sure this time I create a layer beneath the plan layer, bedroom, and I'll give another color. And again, to apply it, I make sure I am on the layer BD, bedroom, and give the shortcut control and backspace, and here it is, it's come. Now to teach you, so these are the ways, and there's one other technique I'll tell you, and after which we'll go into the blending options. So now imagine, it's like I've been using all these colors. We can use any of these colors what is available here, and the layer which we are going to work on. So living, dining and kitchen. I'll click a back, right click, go on to the blending options here, and here you have various options to work with. So stroke is a line, inner shadow, on out, inner glow. You can try out each of this. Like example, if I try inner shadow, so what you see is, you can see the preview happening on the screen here. There is a shadow which comes in and it moves out, and how it's been blended. It gives you a depth, the three-dimensional depth. Rather, you can go for an inner glow. The color difference is not so prominent. Okay, now you see the color difference. This again gives you a depth, better feel. This can give you a much more better, clearer idea. This will be a much more better presentation. So, and color overlay gives you a totally different color. You can change your color totally together here, replacing the earlier color. Pattern overlay is something again we'll use a lot, where we have a default set of patterns in which we can again use the layers. This will be quite a useful part. I'll tell you what about this. So these are default. A very limited preset of patterns would be available, so we can use them. Okay, so I think inner glow is good for us, and I'll leave the setting here. Now you can see the difference here with the inner glow, and this one is a flat color. So what's the difference here? Again, I can go into a bedroom. I can right click on the blending options. I can again go on an inner glow. I can work my parameters again here for inner glow. I can give a much more stronger sense of color here. How about we'll do an inner shadow? That's still fine. We can do that. Inner shadow. I won't do one inner glow. I'll do an inner shadow. So that again gives you what's the kind of stroke you want. Oh, big your sizes. Okay, done. So these are two different effects which you have created here. And now for the toilet. So what I want to do is, I can give a blue tile layout to include the toilet, but I don't want to do that. What I'll do is, I want to have much more realistic. I open up my browser, and I bring my browser here, go into Google. I'll just say, okay, blue tile. Now, okay, now these are set of tiles which are available. I can click on the images for better conditions. Okay, I can use any of them. I'll take this picture. I think this would be apt for me. So this is the picture which I've selected. I'll just right click onto the picture, save image, and it's getting saved in the folder CAD 2. So I'll save it there, PNG format. Now I got it saved, and I'll remove my browser. Now what I'll do is, I'll go into file, open, and this is the tile which I opened, so we'll open it. As we open a new file, again it's got a new tab, and here this is where the magic happens here. So what we do is, now this tile is a JPEG file, and now I need to make this as a pattern, which we can use it here in our plan to render the toilet. So what I'll do is, I'll give a tile, I'll go into the tile file, I'll go into edit, and this is where the define pattern. I'll just click once, it shows me what is the pattern name, and I'll say the default name it is, and click OK. Done. Now this comes into our pattern library. So what I'll do is, I'll go into the plan again, I'll select this part in which we're going to render the toilet. So I'll say shift, select this, select the shower area, and this part of the text also. So now this time, to make it convenient, I can't use a rectangular so easily between these texts. So what I'll do is, I'll go into a polygonal lasso. As I said, we can use a shift button to include them. I'll just include them into the selection. So now even these are included. So below the plan, layer onto the right side. I create another layer which is a new layer and I renamed as T. And initially what I'll do is I'll just give a color, could be any color, I'll just give a color representation. So I've selected the blue, light blue. Go make sure to click on the selected the layer T and control backspace, and now it's gone. So now what I'm going to do is right click on the layer T, go into the blending options, and here I can go into the pattern overlay, click make sure you're selected so that it's been reflected already there. In this part now I've got the pattern of the tile here. Now you can see the tiles being present here. So again I can vary the scale of the JPEG image in which we have a tile. So again I'll keep appropriate, I can keep moving on so that I can make sure where the tile line is also. I'm not going to show I'll show a very nice clean pattern. So I'll show a tile and keep it and click OK. So we are done. We are almost completed it. I am not very keen in rendering the furnitures here. And finally the wall again, yeah. So I'll go into the plan layer, the easier tool, the magic wand, select the walls here, use shift, yeah. The mistake happened because I clicked on the line which I shouldn't. I should click onto the empty space around. And now I've picked up the walls. So I again come beneath the plan layer. I'll create a new layer called W, and I'll select the color. Usually to make a very professional representation, I'll make a black. So I pick a black and then I go and render and give a presentation. Another option is you can again change it into gray. That is also keep your very subtle color. It's very simple. I go into color overlay, I go here and I'll give a gray. So here you can get to see a column grid again and finish it off. And then finally to save the file, first make sure always save the file as a PSD. So I'll give presentation Photoshop 1. Save it. Always save your Photoshop file first. And then to get a JPEG out of it, file, save as. Now pick JPEG, PP1 here, yes, save. It asks for the resolution. Since it's a presentation, we always choose the highest quality, baseline standard, and click OK. Now remember, we have just done part of the plan, so we'll see how this JPEG file looks like. PP1. So this is a file we have worked on. So this is what the final output is. So you can have an exercise where you can fill up the other part and make a full presentation as a assignment. Okay. Thank you. That's